Alright, we are doing another Street Fighter V trial. We are in Volume 2. In this video, we're going to do all 10 of Birdie's trials. If there's a trial that could use some tips, I'll give my best explanations, and then I'll just cut to the combo. Alright, so for Birdie, if you're familiar with him from the first trial, he has a couple of moves that you can either charge a punch button or a kick button. You know, you hold it down, you let go, and he does the combo. So when you see that, within a combo, you have to see which buttons are available because you're probably going to want to hold them as soon as possible. So in this case, the last move is a crouching medium punch. So we got to use any button except that. Now you can either prime that with starting off with a light punch, and then you could do all the other combos, or maybe light kick. I guess not in this case. Let's say if you want the holds, heavy kick, then you can go through the whole combo, and then after you do the crouching medium punch, you can let go of that button. You have to decide which button is best for you. Just keep in mind, obviously you can't use a button that's been used too soon. Like, you could probably still use standing light kick, but it depends on how much recovery time there is between the light kick and the crouching medium, whether or not it's going to be charged enough. So in this case, you just start off with whatever button feels comfortable for you while still being able to do the combo, and then you can just release that button near the end. That's how a lot of his combos are going to be, so just keep that in mind. And also, one last tip, you want to be really close to him with his jumping mediums. It kind of crosses over a little bit. Doesn't really cross over, I guess. Maybe it does. But you want to be as close as possible because the crouching medium punch doesn't have much range, so it's hard to combo that into something. So just keep that in mind. Alright, number 4 is pretty easy because you're going to be doing a crouching heavy punch into his little headbutt and cancel that into the super. There's a ton of time between when that crouching heavy punch comes out and the actual special comes out and connects. You just have to make sure you hit your super motions in between that time. As soon as that headbutt hits, that's when you hit the punch button, and feel free to double tap it to make sure the inputs come in and get that super out. Alright, number 5 isn't too bad. You have 2 options though when it comes to comboing the medium punch after the counter. If you're going to do this in the middle of the screen, you're going to have to do a dash after the counter. It's a little harder to do, and if you're having trouble like I usually do, you can do this in the corner by doing this, walking forward just a little bit and hitting medium punch. So whichever you feel is good for you, you can do it. If you want to learn how to do this in the middle of the screen for some reason, you're just going to have to do the dash instead. Alright, number 6 isn't too bad. So you have your basic attack here. You're going to V-trigger off of this and try to grab him on the way down. Usually earlier the better. There's a couple times I missed this, and it's usually because I was doing it too late or trying to time it, but you really just want to do it as early as possible. Alright, so for number 7, this one can be a little tricky, but there's a good way to do this one. So when you're doing the jumping heavy punch, use that heavy punch as your first charge and release, and then all you have to do is let go of that when you do your crouching medium punch. Make sure you jump close too, because there's like no range. So when you do your jumping heavy punch, you're going to be holding that and then releasing after the medium punch. You can try that on its own for a second. There. It might take you a couple tries. It takes me a few tries, but that's how you want to get that first charge. So as soon as that hits, as soon as you release, you're going to want to hit V trigger. So let's hold the release here. Well, I guess we'll do it from the crouching medium punch. Now what I did there is as soon as I hit the V trigger, I immediately picked whether it was 2 punch or 2 kick. I don't even know what I did, but you want to choose whichever one. So as soon as you tap the V trigger, immediately hold whatever your 2 favorite punch or kick buttons are, and then just let go just when you feel like it's right. There's no good timing for that, but just kind of mess around with it, practice it on its own. And this one isn't too bad, as long as you know that you need to charge as soon as possible at the V trigger and use that jumping heavy punch as your first charge, and you should be able to get this one. If you want a little extra tip, let's say that you're not able to release that heavy punch in order to get the move, what you want to think about it is the timing is jumping heavy punch 1, 2, and 3. You don't want to let go too soon, and 1, 2, 3. So it's a lot slower than you think, so that allows it to get the extra time and to get the charge. So make sure you play around with that a little bit, make sure you can do 2 or 3 at the same time, then that should help you if you're having trouble. Alright, number 8. Could be a little bit tricky, but really the thing here is knowing when to figure out when to hold your single button special. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go all the way up to V trigger, but after I do V trigger, I'm going to hold light punch. So all I got to do is just do this and then let go, that you know it's a combo. So they catch a heavy punch, let go, light punch. It doesn't really matter what button you use, but I feel like that's probably the easiest for me, to be able to do this and then hold this. That whole combo's gonna come out, then I'm gonna just do that, let go, and that should do it. The very beginning of this is pretty easy. The very beginning of this is pretty easy, but nothing crazy going on. The very beginning of this combo is pretty simple. Take a look at that. There we go. So from there, that's when I'm going to be hitting light punch, and then I've got to be able to combo crouching heavy punch just after the V trigger is done doing its thing. And if you do that way, it should probably be pretty good for you. Alright, so number 9. Here's another one where you kind of have to think about when to charge. So what I'm going to do, doesn't mean you have to do it this way, is when I do the standing light punch, which is third in the combo, I'm going to do standing light punch, and I'm going to do the EX version but with medium and heavy punch. So what that'll do is I'll have my light version charged up. So this, whoops, let's try it again. Okay, like that. So that whole time I'm going to be holding light punch, and then because I have a fight stick, I have the advantage is I can hit V trigger with my pinky and hit both at the same time. And then after I do that, I'm just letting go at the earliest possible time to try to juggle. That's the way I'm going to do this one. It's a little tricky. You might have to figure out a different way, especially if you're not using a fight stick. I don't know what even to recommend for that, but that's what I'm going to be doing, and I think that should be good for me. You might have to do something a little bit different though to do this combo. And one last thing, when you're doing your V trigger, you're going to be doing that off the first hit, not any other hit. So the first hit of that headbutt, then you're doing your V trigger, and then you just have to figure out the timing of letting go of that light punch or whatever button you're using to juggle that last hit. Alright, we are number 10. Hopefully you're enjoying this video up to this point. Of course, let me know by commenting, give me a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe. For this last one, really isn't too bad. The only thing in here is basically what we've already done with this combo. So we're doing crouching heavy, We're gonna re-trigger the first hit. And from here, what you're gonna do is this special move, the quarter circle forward medium, it's like a 3-hit thing. And what you want to do is you're not canceling the first or second hit with the super, you're canceling the third. So you're gonna want to practice that on its own, and just hesitate and try to make sure that your super lands or activates on that last hit. Give it a couple tries, you'll see what I mean. It's really late, so you're not trying to cancel the first hit. And otherwise, up to this point, it's pretty easy stuff you've already done. You should be able to handle it. Also, just an added tip, when you're trying to get the re-trigger to come out and you might be struggling like I did for a little bit, what you're going to want to do is when you're doing this move here, you want to wait until just as the hit happens. You don't want to try to buffer too much with the re-trigger. You want to kind of wait it out a little bit because it can be kind of tricky. Yeah, see, like kind of near the end. If you do it too soon, you might not get the V-triggers. That's something to keep in mind. Alright, that finishes up Birdie's Trials 1 through 10. Hopefully you found this video informative, useful, entertaining. If you have, just let me know in the comments, of course, and I will see you in the next video.